Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the, garage for a live session with me, Andy the Gabby Cabby. I hope everyone has been well. I hope everyone is getting through this current heat wave that's spreading through the country. And no, contrary to popular belief, it's not a heat dome, a fireball, or anything else of that nature. It's just bloody nice weather, and it's about time too. Well, before I go on any further with the subject of tonight, what I want to first do is apologise for the lack of live streams over the last few weeks. I think the last one that we had was when I interviewed Graham Moore on the channel. I'm in talks with a couple of people I'm hoping are going to come on, one of which is reasonably high profile, and he's agreed to it. It's just pinning him down to a time, and hopefully that will happen soon. The other one is something a little bit different, but again, that's work in progress. I want to really restructure these lives a little bit and try and get a little bit more out of them. For example, coming on when there's other people to talk to. It's a little bit more in-depth and a little bit more interesting. And apart from that, I want to give something back to you as well, the audience, a little bit more participation, pulling out what you've said about previous videos, your comments, which at the end of the day are a big part of what drives this channel and makes it what it is. And it's very much appreciated. And, we need to give some of that back to you. Now, tonight, I pulled out some comments. There's actually 10 of them, which you made on one of my previous council tax videos. And no matter where you look on the internet, it's quite a popular subject because people are like, should I pay it? Shouldn't I pay it? Oh, I'm in trouble. What do I do? So on and so on and so on. And it's actually a couple of them are pretty much the top performing videos on the channel. So, people's viewpoints need airing. Now, the actual video that I chose was what would happen if we all stopped paying council tax. Obviously, that's something with the current way things are, we're probably never going to get away with. But I wanted to propose the question, what would happen if we all stop paying council tax? And as the video or live stream name is concerned, I want to tackle your council tax comments and see what you think. So here's the first one. And it's from Attacker Batoni, if I've got that name right. This society has been heading in the wrong direction for the last 250 years, let alone the last 30 to 40. I believe you're absolutely right. Now, I'm 47, so pretty near 50. And over my lifetime, I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, the 90s, and so on. When I started to become aware of what's going on, you know that you've got to a point here, and we're now at this point here. And it's almost like any poorly run business, isn't it? Whereby the standards, the decision-making, the accountability has gone slowly south. And where you had a distinct choice of the way our politics worked, we no longer have that choice. It's all melded into one. And that, coupled with the bad decision-making, has got us to a point where we're all talking about, well, should we have something else in its place? How could it work better? But certainly, I think it's been going on a lot longer than the last 30 or 40 years. And certainly, I am starting to wonder whether there's a point to all this. A lot of these people in those positions of power will be fired if they were in business, that's for sure. And you got to wonder, is it deliberate or is it really, really, really that higher level of incompetence? You tell me. Thank you for the comment. The next one, Craig Webb, 4012. Your comment starred on the thumbnail for this live, by the way. Won't happen, Andy. Everyone is too scared, but if we all done it at once, they can't put everyone in prison. We should all stop paying income tax too. That's a very interesting comment, Craig, because at the end of the day, you had that old saying, didn't you? British stiff upper lip. And where's that British disappeared into the ether somewhere, doesn't it? And we're all bogged down. The same is true with voting. people don't come out to vote because they think, what's the point? And like the previous comment, it's year upon year upon year of nonsense. And we all think, what is the point? And if that's true, then they can do whatever they like. You go across and look at France when they've got something to say, or if they're pissed off about something, they come out in their droves and they go mad, don't they? So why have we got the same thing here? It's true, you know, we're little pockets of, I suppose you could call it resistance all over the place, up there, over there, up there. And you all need to come together. You all need to unite. There's political types like Rupert Lowe, Ben Habib, and others that are trying to form that. But, you know, the people have got to get behind it too. One of the biggest movements, of course, is, you know, the one generated and the sheer hundreds of thousands of people that follow Tommy. You know, all of these pockets everywhere. Why are we still in this position? Maybe one day it'll change. I certainly do hope so for the sake of our kids. Anyway, thanks for the comment, Craig. The next one. Stop fucking moaning and get behind reform. Thank you, Paul. Blunt and to the point. Stop fucking moaning. I think a lot of people just moan. I'm fairly infamous for it on this channel. I just moan, point things out, let you know what's going on. But many people just moan, don't they? Now, I have to be careful what I say about reform because, well, I don't have to be careful really because it's my channel. But you always get accused of splitting the vote, ruining our chances and everything else. But if you look at the language before they had politicians elected compared to the language now, there is a very big difference. And if you look at hard-hitting Tories that have jumped ship from the Tory party to reform, all of those things layering up, really, really worries me. You know, two ways of looking at it. When they get in, are they going to do everything they promised before? Or is it going to be a case of what we're seeing now is what we're getting? And it leaves room open up for the Lows and the Habibs and everything else. I really can't call it either way anymore. Now, I think we've got to stop fucking moaning and do something. That's for sure. Whether reform's the answer, that's down to you in the ballot box. I know what I think. But the biggest favour you could do the country, really, is get more people involved. You know, you've got so many people. You've got wives, you've got sisters, you've got brothers, you've got sons, daughters, uncles, aunts. How many out of your immediate circle or immediate family actually get involved? Interesting premise. And thanks for the comment. Stop fucking moaning. Here's a bit of a double one here. P. Bindi Smith. There is another person on here who found out when they take you to court for not paying, it's not even a judge who you stand in front of. It's a council representative. And then Limpet Head. There's some good screen names coming up here. Plus the summonses are not even legit. The council send them out, not the court. And the council actually rent the court and the judge. If you were to ask the judge if he is there on his oath, he would walk out of the court. I have heard stories about that before, asking if he's there on his oath. And I have seen Richard Vobes is one that's quite in with that idea. And he's had people on his channel as well, hasn't he, who have really prescribed to the idea that the judge would walk out if he's asked if he's there on his oath. But I personally had a run-in with my local council over unpaid council tax, had a bit of an argument with them, and it did actually get to the summons stage. At the end of this live stream, I will put a link, an end screen, in fact, to that video. So then you can go and watch and see my own experience. And I ended up doing a freedom of information request to the council myself to find out exactly what is going on and what the point of it all is. And it was very revealing and kind of ties up with what you just said in your comments. So I appreciate that very much. Julie Gregory, 3,900. Mrs. Thatcher thought millionaires in mansions should pay the same as ordinary people. You voted Tory then, Andy. Did you agree with Mrs. T? Well, when all the fuss came out, Julie, over the council tax and everything else, I was 12 years old. So I wasn't really old enough to agree with anything. But I appreciate the point. You know, if I live in a 3-bedroom house and, you know, it's under a certain ban, somebody else pays something less than me if they live in a 2-bedroom house in another area. Another person in a massive great mansion, as you imply, will pay more. It's all relevant to your cost of living. But the argument is, should we? And the argument is, if we, where is it going, really? And, you know, you go back to the poll tax. Do you remember the riots? I remember the riots, and I remember the worry of my mother thinking, how the hell are we going to afford things? You know, and it's one that sticks in my mind. Would that system have been any better? You know, a lot of these taxes come from somewhere. Everything's incorporated, you know, government, the monarchy, even the police service. It's all like a big business, and it has been since at least the 70s. And you wonder how much of this is actually really kosher, or whether we're just having the wool pulled over our eyes. In schools, for example, there's a lot of constitutional law that's not even taught anymore, which would override an awful lot of this nonsense, because simply they just don't want us to know about it. Interesting. Was to pay for things in the Napoleonic Wars. That's something. So really, how far back does it go? And again, I thank you for your comment. The next one. John Smith, stopped paying in 2019 when the boat parasites started arriving. I've argued in court, been totally ignored. I've now got a charge on my house. The only way things are going to change if more people make a stand, like I have. You know what? That goes back, John, to what I said earlier. Where is this stuff actually going? Who's receiving it, and what's it being used for, really? Is it matching up with what we're being told on the, well, let's call it what it is, a demand? I mean, lately, my own council, or my own county council, Kent, you know, the Reform Doge unit have gone in there, and it's been found that our council tax is being splashed out and stuff for migrants. So it's no wonder people like you are getting peeved off with it and not paying. Now, what I'd like to know is, what enforcement action has there been? Have you had a lot of trouble as a result? It'd be interesting to know more. Hell, you can even come on and have a chat if you like and tell us about it. That's one thing that interests me. Many people say, I haven't paid my council tax in blah, 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 blah. And it begs the question, why aren't you in prison? You know, that's what somebody who hasn't got that suspicious mind would think, and what they would know. So, you know, tell me. It'd be interesting information for everybody. Terry Hamby, hey, have you buy the Curlies? If you don't pay them, they invoice you for the whole year. It would have to be civil disobedience and everyone stop paying. That goes with the earlier comment, Terry, doesn't it? Of, you know, who's got the nuts? And many people don't. It would need millions, because like the earlier comment said, you can't lock up everybody, can you? It would need truly millions. And you're right. They give you what, 2 or 3 bites of the cherry? And if you haven't kind of complied, they screw you over and bill you for the whole thing. Money going into illegals, Madeline Donaldson says. Yes, that's right. And, you know, as I said earlier, the Doge unit from the Reform Party that have gone in. Now, this is where I like Reform locally, because they're actually going into these county councils. They're ripping them apart and they're saying, well, actually, what have you been up to? Where is all this money going? It's a big chunk of change in a lot of places. I have issues at the national level, Westminster, but locally they appear to be starting to make some waves, which is a good thing. That Rover guy, 1937, we should unite and make it happen. I think that message of unification goes further than just council tax, doesn't it? It's everything. I mean, there's one thing that the lefties are very good at doing, is uniting behind a common cause. They do it all the time. I suppose that's why we're in the position we are at the moment. But when you get the right of politics, and I've seen this over the last couple of weeks, going in different directions, and you get certain people thinking, hang on a minute, come back over here, or I'm going to do this instead of you, and so on and so on and so on, all pulling in different locations. Perfect example, Paul Thorpe. You've got Paul Thorpe with his Unite the Kingdom movement, and you've got Tommy Robinson involved, millions of people getting behind it. And then you get Rupert Lowe, who started his movement, and then it's, why have you started that movement when there's already a movement over here you can join? Why don't you come over here? Why don't you join Ben Habib? And, you know, there seems to be no unification. At the end of the day, what I want to see is somebody somewhere getting a meaningful, solid, grounded results, which would make the establishment turn around and think, hang on a minute, oh shit, we might have trouble here, and then go forward with it. You know, Restore Britain, for example. You know, I like that because it's punching a hole in the establishment using their own mechanisms to do so. Policies, certain talking points, and, you know, that can be built into something, and then other movements could possibly join in as well. And at some point down in the future, if things change, you know, we could be onto a winner there. It's early days yet, but it's all very fluid. All of this, you know, reform is the answer to our prayers. We've still got 4 years. Who knows what will happen? I suppose the only thing that could happen is if they wrong-footed us and called a general election early. Apart from that, I don't know. We will see. Joseph Quigley, why pay council tax when most of our towns and cities resemble shitholes? How much goes to servicing our needs and how much goes to their pension funds? Oh, yeah. Well, there's been several freedom of information requests over time, hasn't there, which say just that. Our council tax does pay those overinflated pension schemes. It does pay other things it really shouldn't do. And meanwhile, we've got potholes in our roads, the bins, the lights, basic repairs and maintenance all over the place. One saying it's not our responsibility, it's the other. And it goes on. It goes on. And you think, what the hell am I paying and why am I paying it? It goes back to the fact it's a big scam. You know, and I hope sooner or later we will find out. There's one very important thing that you can do just to finish this up with. Go onto Companies House and look up your council and tell me what you find and leave it in the comments. And then have a think about why it's there and for what purpose. And have a think about maybe asking them why. I know I did, and I know what answer mine gave. And then, you know, you start to put the pieces together. It's called thinking outside the box, and I think more people should do it. That's for definite. Thinking outside the box. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for listening tonight. Appreciate that very much. Just a little bit of feedback on some of your comments. And I want to do this once every week, once every couple of weeks. Come on live and have a chat with everybody. There is a couple of interviews, as I said, in the pipeline. When I get them on, we will do other stuff live as well. I'm assuming around 9-ish 8:30, 9. This should still be okay with everybody. Let me know in the comments. Speaking of live chats, I did a chat with Nick Buckley over on his channel. I'll leave a link in the description for this, so maybe go and have a look at that. That's quite a good natter. Please hit the like button on this live. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This is the video here popping up on the screen that I told you about the council tax. Thank you. I'll be about tomorrow with more content. And as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.